Am I live? Hopefully I am. All of a sudden I got choking. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna do this every time now. I gotta make sure our stuff is set up right. Okay. Hopefully. Hopefully I am. Okay. If I'm not, should I guess? Let me see. One moment, please. I'm gonna do this every time. This phone always giving me away. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Christopher Williams. Is that loud? Am I loud? Okay, so I guess you can see me apparently, because I always give y'all something to look at. Hold on, where's my thing doing? Why this thing is not clicking on here? Oh, I need to charge my mouse up. Can I put y'all on hold for a second? OMG. I would do this. Mm, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna just go ahead and get started. Hopefully it won't hold me back. But why won't it let me bring up my hmm. Okay, there we go. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, my bad, y'all. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm gonna rewind, and then I'm gonna do my intro. Okay, welcome back to Pills, Potions, and Poisons with me, Inhale and RX. I'm a pharmacist, but I'm not here in a professional capacity. No, I'm not. Well, I can call myself a YouTube professional. Not really though, but whatever. I do have I have expert level knowledge and information that I can share with y'all. But there's always something I need y'all to keep in mind whenever you come to the channel. And that is, I'm not your pharmacist. I am not your pharmacist. I'm not your pharmacist. Okay? All right, we got it, y'all. Okay, and as y'all come into the chat, if y'all can let me know if you can hear me and see me, that would be great. We like to do that by dropping a good, or some sort of, commentary in the chat. And thank y'all so far for being here. I'm so excited. Now, what are we talking about tonight? Well, we're actually about a day late and a dollar short. However, I think the information is still going to be able to come across and do the same thing, do what it needs to do. So we're going to talk about this debate from last night, this infamous debate. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We are going to watch clips of it that I thought were relevant over here on this channel. It's not gonna be all serious business, and we all white coating it up. We so high and mighty, but we are gonna talk about some of the stuff they talked about last night. Now we're gonna listen to them, and then we're gonna offer our commentary. Okay, that's how that's gonna go. Where are we at tonight? I think the debate, it was held. We always have to go to the location on site. I think they said some part of Pennsylvania. Y'all know I ain't do the research like I needed to do. Y'all already know that, but y'all come to expect that from me over here. So we were in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is known as the what state? We always got to do a little bit of fifth grade social studies. It's the Keystone State. And why is it the Keystone State? Something about something, centralized location, 13 colonies. I'm not smarter than a fifth grader. There's no whole lot, okay? So that's what we're going to get in tonight. I'm going to jump right on into the part that I think is we're going to three main parts we're going to address tonight. I'm going to talk about this drug trafficking. We're going to get on that, and this border control. I don't know, this wall situation. I really got interested in it because of the we just lost our boy Rich Homie Quan. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. And I have an opinion about that. It's like, Well, with the drug trafficking, I do think that a lot of the drugs are coming across the border. I do think that. But I had a discussion with some people today, and they brought it to my attention that, they do be making a lot of drugs out here in the Midwest. They be having these low key, um, that meth labs and places like that. They be in these RVs. Y'all watched Breaking Bad. Is that what that was on? But I thought all in the Midwest. That's where they have all these drugs. They be making them here somewhere. But and some of the drugs on the street, they do come from the pharmacy. We ain't putting them out there, but somebody always getting a good job in the pharmacy where they can, get 1,000-count ball or something. They don't mind going down for whoever it's for. So we're gonna start with that. We're gonna get into, I can't decide if we want to go into that 9-month abortion situation. What kind of sound should I make for that? I'm gonna do a cat. This man had the dirty. I'm gonna let y'all hear, but he's like, they these late term abortions, she's like 7 months, 8 months, 9 months. Some of them they had a baby and then they put the baby to the side and decide what they're gonna do with it. I'm like, that's murder. That's not. And some people might consider the 9-month journey, if they ended there as the same thing. But it's a little bit different, let's be real. And then we're gonna get into he's talking about these people eat dogs and cats. Like, what kind of person is this that we dealing with? This man is outrageous. Okay. So we're going to look at a little bit of the debate. We're going to look at some clips, and then we're going to weigh in. Okay, regulators? Regulators. What'd I say? Round up in the chat. Okay. So let's do this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pull up our little clip here. It should be ready. Okay, we're gonna go straight to that part. Okay, I just already got y'all prepped. And let me know if we do have sound or not. Okay, guys, that would be wonderful if y'all can help me in the chat.
Thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's hard for me not to like jump in when they talking because I'm gonna just do me. Y'all accept me as I am when y'all come over here to this channel. Y'all know what to expect from Alan RX. It's just me. I be crazy. So, oh my goodness. So far, that's Amani's made a point. Well, anyway, before I go ahead and really get too deep into this thing, let me see who we got in the chat, regulators. Y'all up in here? One of my all-time top supporters. We got the one and only Christopher Williams up in this thing. Y'all know him. He always up here giving me the side eye, like, what you on tonight, girl? You know me. I stay with it. He also says he sees the hair. Because I just saw me a couple of days ago. I had some braids. I be, Tamika, Tawanda. What DMX say? About 3 Kims, Tanisha, and Tanya. I'm going to be them. Yeah, I wear my own hair sometimes too. Y'all see that? Y'all look through all my old material. You get to see all the styles, okay? Y'all let me know which one y'all like the best. Okay? We got and Ice. Top supporter as well. Thank y'all for joining the chat tonight over here in LNRX. Okay? We got RPG. We can. Okay? I see y'all. Y'all back. I must have made a good impression on you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Y'all know that. He says, pills and potions, you sound good. Thank you. Thank you. Amani says, they in Philly. They in Philly, the city of brotherly love. I do know that. We got Danny Omega. Hey, welcome. Welcome to Pills, Potions, and Poisons with me and Alan RX. I'm not your pharmacist. All right. All right. Amani says it was voted in California, and that is what they called it. He spoke the truth on what? That late term abortion situation. Okay. So what do I think about that? Okay. So she didn't answer the question. She didn't. Look, I'm not here to sway y'all one way or the other, because I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, call it how I see it. Somebody make a good point, somebody make a bad point. If somebody's doing what they say somebody else going to be doing, which is bringing up immigration when they, bringing up the drug trafficking, when they just brought up the drug trafficking. I'm going to just say what it is. And y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat, good, bad, ugly, in favor, not in favor, whatever. All opinions are welcome here, okay? They are all welcome. And I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about it. Okay. So, all right. So she talked about, the immigration and border control. Did she say border control, border patrol? I don't know what she said. I should have been listening. Y'all know me. But we know that they want to say pretty much that drug trafficking, it plays like a big role in this other situation that's becoming a real serious problem over here in the United States, which is the opioid crisis. Now, I feel like the comment is a little bit I don't want to say the real word. I think it is the R word. When you say that we try to act, when we say that the drugs coming in all got the opioid crisis is due to the people coming in from other countries. Should we say that? Because some of the drugs are already here. Some of them they came from here. They came from down the street. Okay. So immigration, we can't place the whole opioid crisis on them. But there's kind of like what I heard. Did y'all hear that? Let me know if that's what y'all heard. So, of course, they want to go hard talking about that. And then, of course, fentanyl is our hot drug right now. Everybody loves fentanyl. I don't know, however you say it. I look at the phonics, the how that's what it looks like, fentanyl. Like fentanyl. Fentanyl. I don't know. Anyway, so they just want a reason to bring that up, of course, but I'm bringing it up too. So she gonna be riding that way tonight. So y'all let me know what y'all think about that. She just want to get on that fit. She want to talk about immigration. I feel like, you can't bring up immigration and then be like, they trafficking in all the drugs. What do y'all think? Let me we're gonna listen to our former president. Yeah, let's go listen to his response. I like David Muir.
President Trump, on that
Sidebar.
point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving.
Hold on. I forgot to say that too. She gaslit the hell out of him. Y'all want to see like just a artfully, tastefully done gaslight? I want to go back to a little bit to where she did it. Well, I ain't gonna go back, but she was like, I want to invite you guys to his. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna invite you guys to his rallies. She said, she was like, people are, there. They leave early because they're bored. And it's not even very many people there anyway. When I say, if you want to gaslight Donald J. Trump, tell him he ain't got no crowd. Tell him them people bored. They leaving his show early. Tell him. Now, y'all, I think she on to something. She coming out with a little heat on that. But let's listen. He like, I'm gonna go back a little bit. He's like, let me address this bullshit first. Let me talk about that first.
During the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond.
He did like a Kanye. I'm gonna let you have your moment, Taylor Swift. Beyonce is the best artist of all time, or whatever he said. Okay. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm gaslighting.
The rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating.
Oh, shoot, y'all. I'm tripping. Hold on. Yeah, I'm so crazy. Oh my God. He was like, there's not going to be in Springfield. Oh my God. What the world did I do? I'd have clicked all the way out the screen. He was like, it's not going to be in Aurora or Springfield. They're eating the dogs over there. Oh my God. Okay, I'm back. Hold on. I'm tripping. I'm straight tripping, boo. That was so crazy to me. Hold on. Oh my God. That man said that like out loud in living color. Hold on, I lost my timestamp. I'm coming, y'all. I'm so crazy. This was so crazy. Okay, hold on. This man is ridiculous. He don't give a damn saying crazy stuff like that, like in living color. What in the world? Okay, here we go. We back. I'm tripping. Wait. This is so crazy. They let this man say this out loud.
This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum
Oh, wait,
restrictions.
where I'm at.
Root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President
Oh,
Biden
wait,
imposed
did I lose my place? Yeah, I got so excited about the eating dogs and stuff that I lost my place.
country and look at what's happening to the towns all over the
Okay, here
United
we go.
States.
We
And a lot
back.
of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say.
He like, Trump say, first of all, I'm going to say this. So far, this debate has been one of the most entertaining debates that I've watched in a long time. Even though I really don't watch the debates. I'm just going to be honest. I watched it when Obama was running because, you know, he's our man. But I haven't watched it since then. But for the gaslighting that went on and the low blows of they're eating cats and dogs out here, I was here for all of it, okay? And let me know if you're here for it as well.
They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country. And if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well,
All
I've
this,
seen people on television.
let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
The people are
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris.
Okay, so David Muir, you know, he's serious business. Whatever he say, I believe it because, you know, he fact checking. He's like, look, we ain't going off of what they saying on TV because they saying whatever they want to say on TV. They act like you, Donald. Those people say they did not have any confirmed cases of people eating dogs or cats, even though there are locals, according to Donald, that did say that their dog was taken then by the immigrants. Oh my God, y'all. And eating them, come on, man. That's just he was. I mean, I don't know.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. You know, this is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people, not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people whose were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper, he was no good, I fired him, so he writes a book. Another one writes a book, because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they. But They have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far.
Y'all heard him. He got more votes than any Republican in history. He got the most people at his rallies. And Kamala, nobody's even coming to your rallies. You talk about people leaving my rallies early. At least I got people at my rally. Okay, you heard me. Okay. And those people that live down there in Springfield, and he said not Springfield or Aurora, even though he did say Springfield, they did say their pets were taken by. Oh my God. I feel like I shouldn't even be repeating this stuff about the immigrants and eating. Okay. Y'all in the chat, man. Y'all, what y'all think? What y'all think? Almanize says what? Those rallies be lit. She will be down there tomorrow. So we're gonna see what she got going on. She got a rally tomorrow. Oh, they did. Today was 9/11 too. Something, did they have something going on today on I don't know, for 9/11? What was I doing? Oh, this when the towers went down, I was in my freshman year at Southern, and I was in history class actually. It was like the towers went down. I was like, what towers? Oh, the Twin Towers. Yeah. It seemed like it rained that day. I feel like Aaliyah had just died. It was a lot going on at that time. I was 17 in college. Okay. So what y'all think about the Donald and Miss Kamala? Kamala. I watched something. I don't know if it was Saturday Night Live or what. And they were like, it's like say comma, like a comma, like a comma, like the punctuation, and then la, Kamala. Kamala. Not Kamala. Kamala. All right. Harmonize. What Danny saying? A woman was what? They was eating cats or dog. I hadn't heard this until like this debate. So y'all let me know. Wait, you saw somebody eating a cat or dog? This is crazy. What else was he gonna say? Okay, y'all in the chat. I love to hear what y'all saying in the chat. Okay, she's gonna be in Charlotte tomorrow. Okay, you gonna go check her out? I'll be watching on the news. Y'all let us know how a girl doing, cause she slick dissing the Donald on his rallies. Okay, he was getting to our former president Barack Obama too. Like you can't bring a crowd out like him. He bring all the boys and girls to the yard. Okay, okay. You in the 5th grade? Ooh, I'm old. I was in college in 2001. I graduated high school in 2001. Yes. And Amina says, I bought Jay-Z the blueprint and got my hair done on 9. Okay, that was hot. Yes. I love that. That's on Jay-Z I really listen to. Is it, wait, is that the one that had two, like a double album? HOVA. I can't remember. Picture of the possibilities. Is that on there? Okay. Okay, so let's go to our next part. Which one I was gonna do next? Let's go and talk about this late term situation. Okay. Let me get to that. I just feel like, this was a bunch of gaslighting. It was interesting. I like it. I really like both of their styles. Okay. It's like when he go low, I go lower. Okay. I'm gonna gaslight, and then he gonna go for it. It's like, man, come on, she know his weakness though. People, when they be knowing your weakness, man, they be sticking their hand up in there, like, pouring salt on the wound. She's like, people are leaving his rallies. She knew what was gonna happen as soon as she said that. And then it's like we can start a countdown. Like he's like, hold up. Before I can start answering any other question, let me go and address this BS right here, because she think I'm somebody to be playing with. Don't play with me. Play with your kids. Play with them dogs and cats these people eating up. Don't play with me. Okay? All right, hold on. One moment, please. Let's find the spot. All right, y'all. Let me Yeah, thank y'all for participating and thank y'all for being here. All right, let's go, Malika. Is that her name is Malika, I think.
Wade, last year you said that you were proud to be the.
Let me go back a little bit.
Lindsay.
I want to turn
Lindsay.
to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that.
I want to make sure y'all heard that clearly, okay? I'm gonna go back a little bit. This man said in Virginia, who he said, governor, I don't know who he said. He said, not the one they got now, because he's excellent. The one before that. He said the baby, 9th month, like full term, okay? The baby will be born. We're gonna sit the baby to the side, and then we're gonna decide if we want to abort it at that point. After the baby is born, let's go back, okay? Yes. Let's hear this again because this is crazy. I meant to look up the rules for this, but I didn't. What? Oh, did I go back too far? I keep messing up. Oh, I guess y'all need to see. I'm sorry. I'm getting it.
Governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates. Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years, they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions, very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is.
Okay. Let's get into it. Nowhere. We already know that nowhere can anybody that's just not true. Okay. That's not true. 9-month abortion, 9 months. And I didn't even hear, I probably should have been paying attention about this 6 weeks. He was like, 6 weeks is too soon. What does that mean? It's like as soon as you find out you're pregnant, like if you want to do it, the sooner the better. I'm just saying. But to be like 9 months, I'm gonna say this as a person who has I've had a baby. And if you don't want a baby, you ain't gonna be going around carrying it for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Letting the thing just, I don't mean thing, I don't want to sound insensitive, okay? And I'm not being insensitive. I'm a mom, whatever. Whatever. I ain't one of them kind, though, because this ain't my life. I'm me too. But anyway, if you don't want it, you don't want it, or if there's a complication, there's an issue, whatever the case may be, whatever your reason is, if it's, with incest, rape, whatever, if it's stillborn, anything, you're not gonna care for 8 months and then be like, okay, I don't want it. Can we take it, and then, or if you actually deliver a baby and then be like, okay, get rid of it. That's called adoption. You can't he said it's execution. These people did not. That was wild. That was wild to me. Okay. That is crazy. And it's his way of talking is always like, we got to do a little insult and a little jab. He was like, that's the worst pick ever. It's like always so dramatic. I mean, it does make for good TV though. He knows what he's doing with that. Let him finish, or let Lindsay take over, because Lindsay no.
There's no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Let's hear what he said
After
again,
it's
because I got ADHD too. Let's go back a little bit.
For 52 years, every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make...
Okay, let me jump in right here. Okay, so this is a real point here. Because I'm gonna be honest. Now, I'm from Louisiana. Y'all will know that. Y'all will hear that. I rep my state. That's where I'm from. But I live in Mississippi right now, so there's that. And y'all know this place here, I'm gonna just say it. Shout out to everybody if you're from Mississippi, more power to you. I live here right now. And I'm a pharmacist. I work retail pharmacy. And every time they change these laws or they do something with abortion or anything like that, I'm like, every time I just keep on. I'm like, what's the rule again? What's the law again? Can we dispense this again? Do I need to put a note on this prescription? Even if the doctor put some comments here, can we dispense it for this reason? I be like, because I don't want to get in trouble. We could get in trouble. Now, I think somebody was saying the other night, I didn't verify this. I'm not a fact checker like David Muir, but Texas, I know their abortion law is serious business. I feel like this is an ongoing thing. They suing everybody. I don't know. Attorney General, whoever makes these rules up and whoever voting on them, they keep having a lot of trouble. But I know in Mississippi, you got to go somewhere else if you need that kind of, medical attention. You can't get that here. They don't have these places you can go to, but sometimes the doctors will prescribe, the mifepristone. You can get it at home. We don't. I'm like, I thought we couldn't order this. Who the hell ordered this? Who ordered this? Because I want to be able to say we don't even have it in stock. Because every time I look at the rules, because I'm like, I need my job right now. I got stuff I need to do. Okay, I need money. I need my money right now. So I'm like, can I dispense this? Let me look at this again. So this is a point when she says, you know, we risking jail time. She's probably talking about like the MDs, those doctors, but the pharmacy doctors, we have a lot of risk too. With these abortion and these pills and these rules, then drugs just changing. I'm like, what can we do? Because I forgot. They will feel like they voting on this again. You get caught doing something like that in Mississippi, you don't know what your fate is. But anyway, let's let her finish, okay?
No exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country.
I'm gonna make another comment. I'm gonna just jump in here anyway, because if y'all wanted to watch it straight through, y'all would have watched it last night. So y'all, thank y'all for coming here to listen to me and my commentary. She said people don't have to abandon their beliefs and whatever. I have an issue with that kind of stuff. Because people be out here acting like they so devout, right? They ain't pro-choice, they pro-life. Be what to do whatever you want to do, That's me. I'm more like, you got options, exercise your options. But is it just me? And it's probably just me, but these people, they got problems with abortions, right? And I'm gonna say abortions. I mean, I can say it. I'm a pharmacist, and whatever. My channel ain't monetized anyway. I'm not gonna get monetized until I finish up with my other legal business that I got going on. Anyway, so you don't believe in abortions. A lot of times, some of these same people, they don't believe in birth control. Right? Y'all let me know if y'all know. They like no birth control, no abortions. But they be out here having sex though. And they not married. I don't know. Sometimes it be with other people's husbands and wives and whoever. How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me, but that's just me. Like, okay, you so die hard, like, no abortions. Well, okay. No sex then. Stop that. Yes, mortgage boss. Hey. We got the mortgage boss in the chat. We got some live ones in here tonight. I see you. Don't think I don't see you, Rich Turner, because I see you, Rich Turner. I see you. Yes. But y'all tell me about it. Am I wrong? Because I could be wrong. Sometimes I be wrong. But I'm like, oh, well, they don't believe in birth control. They don't? No, like, I mean, that's cool. I mean, shit. Me either sometimes. Who? What? Okay, they don't believe in it. Cool. Don't believe in abortions. Okay, that's, your feeling, your opinion, your life. But don't be like acting all high and mighty, not in my presence, about that, okay? When you like having sex with other sex, I guess. I don't know. I'm just saying all the bad words tonight. Trigger YouTube, whatever. You doing that, okay? So I don't want to hear it. I sound like I know something like this, don't I? Well, probably because I do. All right, let's get back to it. Y'all.
Country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or
She went hard with that. Like she trying to like get out, like make me angry. She's like, people bleeding out in the parking lot. It's like, hey, don't say blood.
a 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term? They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you.
Okay, she drops mic, she walks off. I'm gonna say this. I'm surprised, and y'all, I mean, it's serious over here, but it's not, okay? So I'm finna say something that's gonna be out. I'm surprised he didn't come back because he petty. He's petty with she don't know. She never had a baby, so she never experienced it, you know, because that's how he is. He petty like that. He's petty like that. So yeah. She like, I did that. That's the kind of vibe I got from that. And Marcus Boss says, who is having these procedures at 8 and 9 months? It's certainly not voluntary. How is this not common sense? I mean, we think it is, but it's not. Donald talk about these people like having a baby and then deciding if they want to abort it or not. Like the baby is out of the womb and it's like out on the table. That's what the Donald's saying. Donald is off the chisel. Okay. Let's hear his response.
Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came
Well, I
to your
won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea and how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free, but they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D.
Didn't JD say all these childless cat ladies out here got something to say about abortion? He's interested. Didn't he say that? He's like, these people ain't got no kids, they need to be quiet. He said it like straight up. And now there was a jab at Kamala. I'm just saying.
And I don't mind
I wanted to
a
laugh.
certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years, they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can.
That was a nice way of saying women working 2 jobs, they got some kids, they pregnant again, but they got to go somewhere far to get, to not be pregnant again. I sometimes I can be extreme and be like, stop, with the sex. But anyway.
Can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body. And that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
excuse me, I have to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer the question? Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question, would you veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the governor, former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security.
Okay, y'all. What y'all think? What do y'all think, okay, about these opinions? First of all, like I said, I think our vice president, I think she made a good point about that, the healthcare providers, us, because I really be like, what about this abortion pill? What can we do with that? Can we do that? Is that okay? I don't know. Okay, so, and then the Donald says people are getting these procedures in the 7th month, 8th month, 9th month. Right now, you can vote. It's in the hands of the states. So every state has different laws. I don't know what they're doing in Virginia. I meant to look that up before I came on here, but I didn't. Okay. Amanaz made a point up here, and I wanted to kind of speak on that. Okay, she says, chicks in Philly and New Jersey, doctor just got convicted for doing 9-month abortions. And selling the organs is happening. Can you call it that at that point? That's murder. Is it born alive, like breathing? Because, they be like when they take their first breath, they are alive. I don't know. So we gotta look this. I'm gonna have to check that out too. Mortgage Boss says she gonna look it up because this is crazy. Okay, y'all. So next thing I want to They talked a little bit about these designer babies, and I don't know what the issue is with the IVF, because I mean they paying for that anyway. So how are they banning that? Don't we love the designer babies? I mean, I do. It's, I want to tell you, I have I always, I'm very observant, and I know a lot of, I call them that designer babies, like back in the day they used to call them like test tube babies, whatever. Get them how you live, blessings, they blessings if you want them. I'm all about people doing what they want to do, So, but I could be wrong. I'm on way. I have an experiment going on. Not that I'm actually doing, but it's kind of like I'm observing this. I have a hypothesis, but I'll let y'all know once I finish this study how it's going. Okay. Amanice has given us a link. Kermit Gosnell. Who is that? Is that okay? A PA? NPA? Okay. Is that what is PA? Is that Pennsylvania? Okay, I told you it's a fifth grade lesson. What in Colorado? What? Able to do them legally in Colorado? I'm gonna say it. This ain't even on here. I don't even know this for a fact, but I bet my favorite state, Oregon. I bet you can do it. I bet you can do it in Oregon. I bet. You can do whatever you want in Oregon. Okay. What was the other thing I want to? It's another link. Okay. We already did Roe v. Wade. Okay, let's go back to the beginning where they're talking about our other favorite thing that I felt like was drug related and related to our channel over here with me and y'all. COVID. We love COVID and we love taxes. Okay. I should just let the whole thing play out, but I'm just like, let's get to the good part because I'm getting tired. I can't pay attention that long. I mean, I can, but if I want to. Okay, so let me put y'all back up here. Article about the current doctors who do late term. But it's like, what is late term? Late term is like full term. Like this baby can be born like out here in the world and survive at this point. Now I'm pro-choice, but I got a limit on my pro-choice. And what's his name? Donald Trump, his VP guy, running mate, whatever the word is. I ain't in the politics. I'm just doing this show tonight. He was like, these old cat ladies ain't never had no kids. Like they should not be able to speak on it. They can't speak on it. He like, you ain't even a real woman for you to even be talking right now. That man is crazy. Can I say crazy? We can't say nothing around here. Okay, but anyway.
With tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response. And you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out. when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore.
What chips? What chips are they talking about? About the chips? Can y'all drop it in the chat for me? Because I'm like, about the chips? What chips? Like, what chips? Like microchips or like potato chips? What chips? Okay, because I was like, huh? They making them over there now? I don't know what's going on because I feel like every time they be in Pennsylvania somewhere like that, they start talking about coal mining and I don't know, just some, automotive. I'm not familiar with all this stuff. So I'm like, what chips did they sell and when? And I'm gonna just say she's making some good points. He making some good comebacks because if it's just about the entertainment, like I said. I think she's good at debating. I think she is. Well, I'm gonna ask y'all some more questions as we go along. But if y'all know about these chips, inform your girl about these chips. Like chips.
Because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believes.
I'm gonna go back just a little bit because I was like, what are these chips?
We hardly make chips anymore because of.
Oh, I don't say we don't even make chips.
Exclamation point, when we know that she was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump often touted that you were able to.
What do y'all think? We got a few people in here. Let's take a vote. If y'all don't, I wish I knew how to create a poll. At some point, I'm gonna learn how to create a poll because y'all might not want to, publicly respond to this. But who do y'all think? Okay, I don't want to ask y'all who do y'all think did the best or made, who did the best job, tackling some of these issues. Were those good questions? Are those valid questions? What do y'all think? Let me know what y'all think about this debate in general. Because I thought these were very important issues. They're kind of the issues that's driving us right now anyway. And really, mortgage boss, shout out to her, this housing market and all that kind of stuff. Inflation, abortion. These like the big topics. I was looking at another somebody else's stream, or I don't know, some article, and they were saying she wants to have another debate with him because I think she did a good job. Donald Trump think he did a good job too, but he doesn't want to debate again. His team is saying he needs another debate to kind of clear this one up because he didn't do as well as he thought he did. But he's probably going to say, "I did the best. I'm just the best." This is the best debate ever. Y'all know it. I have the biggest crowds ever. Okay. But I think she made some good points. I don't know about yeah. I think Donna made some good comebacks because like I said, I was very entertained. But what do y'all think in the chat? I would drop the link, but y'all don't want to come up. Y'all did not want to come up. Let me see who else we got in this chat. What y'all got going on? When was the last time? Almanac says, when is the last time y'all heard from the Cheneys? Soon as Donald J. Trump said they going to get terrified, they endorsed. Oh, Dick Cheney and them? Okay. I want to go back up here too. I'm just on here tonight, y'all. Letting y'all know. I'm gonna need this shout out through the Fire podcast. He says, in Allen, what's good? TJ's Pet Protection Services is open for business. Okay. Because they eating all your cats and dogs around here. Is that real? They used to say these certain kind of people that run certain kind of restaurants, they always used to be like, well, they feeding us cats or whatever. Cats are like domestic animals over here with us, but if they're somewhere else, do they just eat cats, Like, we eat chicken and stuff. I don't know. Would y'all eat a cat? I sound demonic for saying that, but I'm just saying. If you don't know it's cat, I'm not eating no cats or no dogs, okay? They'll be like, oh, I eat. I'm entertaining myself. I eat cat. They be like, I eat cat all the time. No, you don't, buddy. No. That dog, it tastes like chicken. That's what we always say, don't we? Okay. Said Rip Garfield. Hey. David Bowen says Rip Garfield. Yes. Good night to the cats. They're in your stew. I feel like it'd be a cat stew. Okay. All right, y'all. Drop your opinions and your comments in the chat. Let me know what y'all thinking about this. What is this? Is this spam? I ain't never. The chips pertain to the push for the technological advancement within the next decade. Yes, and the AI. So she said they sold it overseas and they're making the chips. Somebody in the chat already knew what my head was at. I'm like, the chips? I am blonde right now. They say we have more fun, but like, what? What are we talking about? Yeah. So yeah, okay. So are they making anything in the United States right now? Like anything? They sold everything over everywhere else. And the AI. AI is software though, I guess we need the chips for AI in our computers. I don't know. I ain't never seen a cat run. You said that. You said that. I didn't. This chat is so wild. Y'all so crazy. RPG says it costs too much to make things in America. It does. Well, are we getting all the little parts over here? I don't really like talking about my personal life like this. One of my child, one of her teachers, like always talking about this. Everything's made in China. I'm like, do we need to get out this school? Because I feel like she shouldn't be talking about that in front of the kids. They got their vocabulary words, they spelling words, all, political words, like politician, blah, blah. She's like, looking at my computer, I'm making this thumbnail tonight. I was halfway making. Oh, what you talking about, Donald Trump? I'm like, how you even know who that is? And she said, and I know her too. I said, who is her? She's like, her. I'm like, you don't know her name. She said, I can't say her name. I'm like, okay, but you know Donald Trump. This crazy. I'm like, what the hell does school got going on? I might even go out there. What the hell y'all teaching them? Okay. But yeah, it costs too much. Yeah, and where they gonna set up all these factories at? They already get making the meth in these RVs. So I mean, where are we gonna make all these chips at? The job gets sold overseas. RPG is laughing. Should I drop this link? Are y'all gonna come up? I act like y'all I'm dropping this link so y'all can come up. I really don't have anything else about this. Oh, they're gonna make it in Ohio. They're gonna put the factories in Ohio. What we gonna put in Ohio? Or are there already places in Ohio where they're making the meth? Are we talking about meth or are we talking about the chips? I'm so crazy. The intel, like, do we have it? My sister, she got a degree in computer science. Chips factory and production. Oh, it's already like up and running? And not Frito. I got Frito Land, Texas on it. I really was like, what? Why they keep saying it? I said, maybe they talk about these microchips. Is that from Sierra Leone? Why they making chips over there? Or did we sell the chips to China? The way he always say China, it's like, come on. Oh, they're building it now. Okay. Okay. Just started last year. I might go out there. Okay. So money be made around here. Okay. Money be made around here. Okay. All right. Y'all put me up on game. Now, Armitage told us about the 9-month abortions. And they selling the organs on the black market. That's sick. Now somebody might be like, it's sick to, have an abortion at all. I get it. But to be like, we're gonna carry it to full term, that sounds like some clone type situation or something. Like you carry this baby just to get the organs for it, like for your other real sick baby. Sound like a Lifetime movie. That sounds like a clone. And who are they like it? Are they getting pregnant like the regular way with these babies and then be like, I'ma just carry it to term? These are some. This is crazy. 7 pounds Will Smith. Yeah, that movie was crazy too. But I mean, I ain't no organ donor. I'm gonna just say it. I don't care. Y'all judge me. I ain't an organ donor. I be pro-life. I'm just like, do whatever you want to do. I'm an organ donor because I'm like, they're gonna just. And this is very ignorant of me to even say something like this. So judge me, whatever. I'm like, they're gonna let me die. People be letting folks die anyway. I told y'all I need to learn how to do CPR. People die in front of you. All you gotta do is just give them a little chest compression. Okay. Selling organs is sick. Selling organs is sick, and it's greedy, and it's sick on behalf on the person's part that's selling them. Okay. But it's greedy on the other person's side. Like, bro, you just want to get money any kind of way, huh? We sell the organs on the black market. Where is the black market at? Like, how do you get in touch with these kind of people that can do these kind of things? Like, she got a baby she don't want. Like, why don't y'all go and take her down there to the clinic where they picketing it outside, telling you like don't do it. Um, they're like, nah, she gonna carry, it, she gonna sell it. Sell what? The baby. The baby. Yeah, you go up to Virginia and you can carry it. You can just get rid of it. The governor gonna let you do it at the 9th month, and they got somebody that's ready to buy them. What? How do we have these types of conversations? I don't know. But is there anything else y'all want to hear about this the debate? That's all I got out of it. That's all I like, those 3 parts: the abortion, the immigration, and the I didn't like it for somebody, clip that up or something. I don't know. She say she loved it. No, I didn't, but I thought it was interesting. I thought it was relevant. Yeah. And it also was interesting how she said, let me get you down here, David, because I be talking reckless and I don't want y'all to be, you know, attached to me when I'm talking like that. That I lost what I was gonna say. Oh, how he was talking about China and he thanked them about, the transparency with the COVID situation when they knew where it started from in the first place. I was like, oh, sneaky. That was sneaky. I'm looking forward to the next debate. I'm looking forward to it. Do y'all have any questions about anything else? Even though, we had this is our main topic. That was the main event of tonight. Um, I'm always open to some Q&A. We can open it up for some Q&A at this point. Is there one? Is there one? I am retail pharmacist, guys. I don't work for y'all, but I answer a question or two off the clock. A question or two off the clock if they are relevant to my scope of practice. So if y'all want to talk about anything else, uh, your doctor got you on 3 blood pressure pills. Can I be on 3? Y'all be asking me stuff like that. They put me on this medication. My diabetes acting up this Mounjaro. Got me with the you be like it ain't working. Whatever y'all be saying. Or people be acting like they addicts and hooked on it. It's like so annoying. But if y'all don't have any other questions, drop them in the chat. Sometimes the comments will show up and they won't show up on the StreamYard. But the chat will be like full. I'm gonna drop the link anyway. I drop the link. So I'm on here. I'm gonna give y'all 10 minutes. Every time I say that, like I just know what I'm doing. Hold on. Um, come and talk to me. Really wanna meet you. Can I talk to you? Let's say this like that. I'm proud of myself, y'all. Cause y'all know I don't be getting on here. I'm back. I got some big things going on. I'm so excited. I'll be able to share with you guys soon. I look brand new, don't I? Yeah. I'm gonna tell y'all real soon. Okay, so come and talk to me. Only if you want to. If you don't, I understand. Okay, here we go. So if y'all wanna come up here and holler at your girl in Allen RX, that is me. Oh, I ain't never put my banner up. Oh, let me update it. I had some people give me something last time. I'm learning how to do this. Can I talk to you? Okay, I put that up there. Well, I guess we could. Yeah, I mean, since we just on here, we might as well watch some more of it. Let me go back to what I wanted to hear anyway. We can go back to the cats and dogs. I'll just play it. We can just play it all the way through. Y'all, people was just streaming it last night. I was like, dang, I should stream it too. Then I was like, I'm going to bed. I ain't doing it. Okay, it said 20. Let's see. Y'all can sit up here and watch it. I be thinking like, I should sleep on here. People be sleeping on YouTube. I'm like, I should sleep on YouTube. Just put a camera and just lay down. Okay, let's add this back to the stage. Y'all let me know.
What we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country. Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter.
I really like this part.
He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will all.
How can windmills cause cancer? I didn't look that up either. Like, what's the theory behind that? But if you know, put it in the chat for me, because I don't know how windmills cause cancer. I don't know.
Also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country. And if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well,
All
I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a four-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper, he was no good, I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book, because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they? But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier. So let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S. military.
Police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people.
He said he gonna deport millions. How he gonna get all these people out of here? If these people out here eating cats and dogs and taking animals and doing stuff like that, you think we just gonna be able to just get them out of here? They like got here. They riding in back of trucks and vans. They coming across this water. They going through hell and high water to get here, and they eating cats and dogs. According to him, how you think you just gonna get them out of here? You gonna bust them out? Like, I mean, how you gonna get them all out of here? I just be way too like, I'm like, how is that, how's it gonna make that happen? First of all, you gotta find them. They undocumented, I guess. I don't know how this stuff works. So they, hiding in the shadows, working for cash. You got to pay them under the table, straight cash, homie. And how you just gonna get them out of here? I guess. Well, listen, I told you I watched some of this stuff. I didn't watch the whole thing, so I'm watching it for the first time with y'all. Thank you. I love y'all. Mwah. Say it back.
People to come in, drug dealers to come into our country, and they're now in the United States.
And to keep saying they drug dealers, a lot of those people are not drug dealers. Them drugs here. I know I be being funny too. Like, oh, the drugs came across the border, across the water. They from over the sea somewhere. They are. A lot of them are. But it's something here. Some of these drugs are already here. Now, we don't have no high-level cartel, drug organizations like that. But they here. Some drugs are already here, being sold to the people that's here, Anyway.
And told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country.
What? I should have listened to this. I like it.
And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They
be fact checking him like on the spot. And he don't like it. They be like, look, that's just not true.
They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it, to try and win an election. They're
President Trump-
fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
Vice President
stop
Harris,
him.
thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president,
We gotta
This is the
continue
one
here.
that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a
President
fake
Trump.
Russia investigation
We do have a lot to
that
get.
went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women.
I'm gonna take do a little sidebar. Do y'all think when they start telling these stories, like, when I was a little girl and this and that, or Joe Biden always talk about, when he was scrapping in Scranton, Pennsylvania, this, I know, we all got our stories from like growing up, but sometimes it sounds like it's just, let me tell you about a time, and it's like they get in their head and they just start telling a story that they think gonna pull at the heartstrings. I mean, it could be true. I'm just saying. Anyway.
And children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on longstanding work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down.
Oh.
And name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well, first of
response?
all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it,
Billions.
they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever.
Y'all tell me what fracking is. It's another thing. Y'all got to help me out.
She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now.
Ooh.
If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
What?
This is a radical left liberal that
What?
would do this. She wants to confiscate.
He said, what now? Dang, I should have watched this. I'm going to go back because that was kind of, what?
Many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish, one thing so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that
for
we
the
have to get to.
environment, as she
We're out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar. Remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America, they're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
one
ask
of those, David, one of those people going to be prosecuted. One of the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted. Or in Seattle, they went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. One of those people going to be prosecuted.
But let me just ask
You might ask her that
You
question.
were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker
Let's
Pelosi.
get
But I
back
do
on
want Vice
task
President
now.
Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say, we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You say, come on down to the office. Let's
stay
sign a
with
bill.
the jab.
If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
we talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowowledging that you lost in
No,
2020?
I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say that.
sarcastically. You
But
know
those-
that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look,
David Muir don't
there's so
play.
much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No
Republican.
judge looked at it.
And said there
They
was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread fraud.
standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election. That was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that.
Who she know how to
Clearly he's had a
gaslight
very
him?
difficult time processing that. But
She's
we
good.
cannot afford to have a president of the United States
But tonight, I don't know.
who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump.
Oh,
I have
Lord,
talked
she
with
is firing him
military
up.
leaders, some of whom worked with you,
His blood
and
is
they say
boiling
you're
on
a
inside.
disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Victor
Hold on. Let me just tell you about this. I'm still here. She said loser and lost and disgrace. She used all those words to describe the Donald in the Donald's face. I don't think he's going down without a fight. He ain't gonna just let her get away with it. She gonna have to pay for that. It was nice. That was nice and timely.
Orban, one of the most respected men. They call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of
What
him.
else?
Look at what's going on with
He
North
ain't
Korea,
say
by
the
the
R
way.
word,
He
did
said
he?
Russia was afraid
Oh,
of
he
him.
did?
I
What?
ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her.
What?
But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm
President,
okay with it
Mr.
because
President, your time
Oh,
is
I
up.
think we're
wait.
going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get.
He
to.
ready
Turning
to,
out
he's,
to the
he is
Israel-Hamas
upset.
war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in
We watch a
December,
little bit
you
more.
said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis, many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters, because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately. And the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution,
Oh, no,
there
nothing
must
about
be
this.
security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran.
I'm gonna skip a little bit.
It has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight.
Anyone else?
Independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans
Move on, Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as
Don't talk about that
Obamacare. You have failed to
Obamacare.
accomplish that.
I'm gonna
You
skip
now
this
say
too,
you're
y'all.
going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better.
It's almost
Last
time for
month,
open
you said, quote,
enrollment.
we're working on it. So tonight,
in
9
October,
years after
so
you
you know,
first
make
started
sure y'all
running, do
choose
you
the right
have a
insurance
plan?
plans.
And can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care.
Here we
Always
go.
was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous.
I
They
thought
wouldn't vote
Obamacare was
to
all
change
right.
it. If they would have
People
done
don't be
that, we
knowing
would
that.
have had
Y'all
a
need
much
insurance.
better plan than Obamacare. But
Drugs
the
are too high.
Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain.
Word salad.
I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan.
Come on, Lindsay.
I'm not president right now. But
Like, I
if
can't, you know.
we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
Okay.
As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time when I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate. And the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said at the time, because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes?
Yep.
And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people.
Okay.
Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month since I've been vice president.
That's true. I work in retail pharmacy. That insulin high as hell, and a lot of these other drugs are high as hell. Okay. That's true. I'm fact checking on it.
We have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it.
Vice President Harris, thank
in terms
you.
of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a lot
She made
of
a mistake. Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get.
President
People
Trump.
are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to.
That's not true either. About that. And you know, okay, so let me say this real quick. Like when they say government insurance, when they say it like that, it sounds like it's Medicaid, you know, or something you're not paying for. But if it's Medicare, it's, you know, all these other plans they actually like even TRICARE too. They are considered like government plans, but you know, you get it like through the military and all that kind of stuff like that. And some of these you have to pay for it. Okay. So I kind of, you know, I'm biased a little bit when it comes to that because a lot of times people will come in the pharmacy and they don't want to, you know, I don't have an insurance plan for whatever reason. They don't work or they just don't want to pay for like, you know, private, you know, insurance. But they get a wake up call because it's like, they want to get this prescription. Okay. And then they say, well, how much is it if I don't have insurance? I'm gonna just pay for it. I'm just gonna pay for it. I'm like, it's $1,200. You still want it? That doesn't make any sense. Now it's like, okay, we're going away from being mad at the insurance company to now being mad at the drug manufacturers. These drugs are too high, blah, blah, blah. It's like, do you want it or not? Do you want to be healthy or not? Do you want to live or not? All these these drugs, like the Humira, these cancer drugs, all these drugs are high as hell. They're expensive. You know, a lot of y'all don't want to get insurance, whatever, you're watching too much YouTube or whatever your reason is. You know, you don't have a job. Insurance is expensive. But, you know, God forbid you do get sick. And then what? You know, you got hospital bills as well as the cost of these prescription drugs. And I can just tell you, you don't want to pay the cash price. Because then you're going to be, well, that's too much. Then you blaming the pharmacy, you blaming everybody but who, you know, it's your responsibility to take care of yourself. But, you know, just get good information too. Hey, Laverne, what's up? Now, me and you, we in the same time zone. What you doing up this time of night? Just not getting up. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to playing this show. But yeah, it's pros and cons with all of it with this insurance stuff, y'all. I'm just telling you. Because you could be like, I don't want to pay for this when you 25 and you healthy. Then you turn 40. You're like, what? All of a sudden, I'm really like needing some glasses. I gotta get all this stuff checked out. What? You know, I get my regular visits on my, you know, the annuals. But it's like now I gotta be getting all this other stuff checked out. You don't want to pay for that. Most of y'all can't pay for that. Me either, not without insurance. So I'm gonna let Lindsay talk to you.
It's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. Ooh. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates.
Ooh,
in a
yeah,
historic night
okay.
at This ABC
Hey,
News
that's gonna be
presidential
it.
debate.
Woo. Okay, let's see. Laverne coming up in here, giving us the comment. He says, China's auto sector is moving to Mexico. 29 new manufacturing plants set up since June of 2022. So is the Donald telling us the truth? You know, I think that he does have like some of the comments that he makes, you know, I think he has good points, but it kind of gets like, you know, clouded up, you know, overshadowed with the jabs, you know, because he's too busy like, oh, you hit me? You said that about me? Okay. Okay, because you know, y'all are losers, y'all suck, y'all are the worst. And then, you know, they're worse than the worst of the worst. So it's kind of like if he could stay, you know, focused, like you need to get a little tunnel vision, like respond, you know, with his own answer instead of, you know, reacting to what she said, because she's a professional gaslighter. And I think somebody said in the chat earlier that, you know, she's a serious like career politician. She's good. She knows his buttons to press, and she will press them. And he goes for it. You know, you gotta like watch these videos on YouTube about dealing with these narcissists, you know. Because I mean, we keep saying that word. It's a thing. It is a thing, you know. But if he could focus on that, on responding to that, and not the jabs, you know, I think it would be a better debate. But I also like when he does kind of go off, you know, like go off, you know, talking about what he's talking about, because I do like to be entertained. These debates can get a little boring. So, you know, we might need somebody like the Donald to at least to, you know, campaign and run against people. Y'all vote for who you want to vote for. This is not what I do on this channel, okay? But I dropped the link somewhere up there. I don't even know if y'all want to come up. And you know, at this point, I'm gonna just shut it down anyway. What time is it? I've been up late. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. I don't know why I do this. I always, every time I work 8 to 8, I be like, you know what? I'm gonna get on the stream tonight. I'm out tomorrow. I got some other stuff I got to take care of tomorrow, some business I got to take care of tomorrow. So, other than that, I appreciate y'all for being up in here with me tonight. This was a late stream. You know, I do have to get on here a lot of times when I get off work. And I appreciate y'all for coming on here. This was a last minute stream. I kind of just came up with this while I was at work, kind of looking at this debate. And I was like, oh, they talking about some things, you know, but I'm in healthcare. It's kind of always gonna be like a big topic, you know, in general with healthcare. So I was like, they're talking about some things that I know about. So let me go ahead and talk to my people. I didn't know. Y'all know a lot of stuff. Y'all be knowing about these 9-month abortions. That is so crazy to me. They gotta be illegal. Ain't nobody picketing outside of there with their signs telling them, like, don't do it. Ain't nobody telling them not to do that. Like, they just carry baby 9 months and then just be like, here. I mean, how do they, how, I ain't gonna get into that because it's gonna get dark. And it is pharmacy after dark. But anyway, y'all, thank y'all for joining me tonight here on Pills, Potions, and Poisons with me in RX. What do I always say? Oh, forgot to tell y'all, I love y'all. LOVEYOU. From me to you. I love y'all. And these prescriptions, what do they do, y'all? If y'all got some questions, leave them in the comment section. Of course, like it, subscribe. If y'all ain't already subscribed, like it and subscribe. Like it and subscribe. Like it for me. Like it for me. Like it for me. Anyway, these subscriptions, what they do, they keep piling up. These phones, they never stop ringing, y'all. I'm going to see y'all in the next video. Good night.